statement. I would now like to make a statement in my capacity as the representative of the Russian Federation. We would like to thank Under-Secretary General of the United Nations, Jean-Pierre Lacroix, for his statement. We welcome to today's meeting the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Mali, Tiaman Oumer Coulibaly. We support Bamako's efforts to normalize the situation in the country. We note that over recent months, the process to implement the Agreement for Peace and Reconciliation has sped up somewhat, the agreement of 2015. Mixed patrols have finally been deployed in Gao, Kidal and Timbuktu, and the process of cantonment, disarmament, demobilization and reintegration of combatants is continuing. There have been no significant violations in the preparations for the forthcoming 29th of July presidential elections. In this regard, we urge all Malian parties to refrain from provocative actions and to work together to ensure the elections be peaceful. However, there are grounds for concerns, and many grounds for concerns. The geographical scope of terrorist and extremist activity has significantly expanded. Inter-ethnic conflicts are being kindled. In many regions of the center and north of Mali, the authorities still have a minimal presence. Unfortunately, in those areas, there are no basic social needs that are being met. The humanitarian situation in the country is close to the crisis indicator that we saw in 2012. In such circumstances, there is nothing left for local young people but to fill the ranks of terrorist or criminal structures. We closely read the report of the UN Secretary General on the situation in Mali, as well as the independent strategic review of the UN stabilization mission in the country. We basically agree with the views and conclusions of these documents. Given the fact that over the past 5 years of the peacekeepers' presence, it has just not been possible to overcome the crisis situation, there is a need to review the approaches taken to resolving it. We agree with the strategic review's assessment that it is unlikely that military means alone will normalize the situation in the country. There is a need to focus on political mechanisms that could be developed and conducted in conjunction with the Malians themselves. A leading role in these processes needs to be played by the country's citizens themselves, and that is the only sure way to resolve its numerous complex issues. Of course, these processes need international and regional support. The strategic review's idea about the Pact for Peace, if it is agreed upon by the Malians themselves, could be a basis for moving forward, in our opinion. We also support the Secretary General's proposal to review the priority areas of the work of MINUSMA in terms of implementing political challenges. By the same token, we believe that this process, first and foremost, should be gradual, and secondly, should not harm the tasks of the mission, the goals of the mission, to protect the civilian population and to help to restore the national security forces. Of pertinence is also the issue of its logistical provision, including with helicopters. We would urge those countries who bear responsibility here to implement this in a timely manner. It is hard to achieve a settlement in Mali without normalizing the situation in the region as a whole. The situation in that country has a significant impact on African-wide security. We support specific steps taken by the G5 Sahel states to establish a joint force to combat terrorism and organized crime. We trust that the joint force's deployment will be completed as soon as possible.